Hi, I'm Rob Buffington, the founder of Gordian Staffing, and I recently spoke at CAI Nationals on employee retention, particularly focused on community managers. For those of you who weren't able to make it to my presentation, we're going to go over a few highlights that can help you retain and elevate your staff. Estimates on the cost of employee turnover vary depending on which study you're looking at and which industry. I've seen estimates on the low end to 50% of an employee's salary all the way up to 300% when you're factoring in soft costs. And either end of the spectrum, that is a concerning number, particularly when you think about how difficult it is to attract talent in the first place. Things like late fees or rush fees on a project because the outgoing manager didn't hand off a project properly, or losing a client because of yet another manager transition would fall into this category. And the goal is not to depress you, but to put it into perspective how important it is to invest in employee retention. The first thing that you can do to increase employee retention is to make sure that you're focusing on the first 100 days. And those days do not start when they show up for their first day of work. They start as soon as the offer is accepted. You go back and you're all excited because help is on the way and you're not going to be overworked anymore and somebody new is coming. But they get quiet and they start to have second thoughts. They go through what's called hires remorse. Am I going to like this new job? Is it going to be hard? Will there be more meetings than they said? Usually. Could I get the same offer if I stayed here? Will my supervisor be someone different than the person who interviewed me? Why didn't I ask this question, etc.? So they have all this time to just kind of freak out a little bit because change is scary to most people. So by going silent during that transition period, you're giving them 2 to 3 weeks to freak out over their decision and change their mind. Instead, what we do at Gordian and what we recommend our clients do is they start a drip campaign where every few days they get some new communication that's meant to inform and encourage them. Things like, hey, here's instructions on where to go for your first day, what to bring with you, what your schedule is going to be, who you're going to be meeting, etc. Or, hey, here's a video from our CEO welcoming you. Here's more information about our company. Here's our social responsibility policy. Anything that you think would help them feel connected leading up to their first day. And you can mix it up. Use email, use text, use a phone call, use smoke signals if you want, but stay in contact. Don't give them time to panic, or at least if they do panic, make sure that they feel comfortable reaching out and expressing their concerns so you can help address them. Now, when they show up for their first day, make sure that you're ready for them. Have their computers ready to go. Have the logins ready, pages bookmarked. Have somebody ready to take them out to lunch. Make sure someone is available to focus on them for those first few weeks. Because the problem is we usually hire because we're short-staffed. So by the time a new manager arrives, it's probably been at least a month, probably 2 to 3. And the person who's training them is usually the one who's taken the extra work. So that person is frazzled and they just want to get stuff off their plate. But if you do that too quickly and you don't make it about the new employee, you can scare them, you can burn them out, you can just give them a really bad first impression. So take the time to do things logically, step by step, and don't give everything at once. There's a principle called delegation by abdication. And too often it's, yay, you're here. Here's all the stuff you're taking off of my plate. Best of luck to you. Companies with a solid onboarding process reported an 82% increase in employee retention. So it takes more work up front, but it'll absolutely pay off in the long run. So next up is to know your existing staff. Too often we give people new projects, new communities and clients, not based on their abilities or their geographic breakdown, but how close to a mental breakdown they are. I'm not trying to be funny, but usually we look at people with capacity, not capabilities. You know, this is really a good fit for John, but Susie over here has the time. She's not complaining. She hasn't threatened to quit this week, so let's give it to her. So make sure that you're giving people roles and responsibilities that they're ready for, not give it to people just because you think they can they can take it in the short term. Sometimes the smart call is to turn down a client or to give it to the person that's the best fit and then take away a community or a project that they have that fits in better with somebody else so that person isn't overwhelmed. It's more work in the short term, but I promise you it's less work in the long run. And finally, keep a personal connection with your employees. Make sure that even if they're working remote or if you're in a different office, that you have at least one solid personal connection with them every month. This can be a private phone call to see how they're doing, a handwritten note, or a pre-recorded video to thank them for something that they did. Just add a weekly 20-minute block to your calendar labeled PEC and spend that time doing something nice to support your staff. If you'd like more information on how to better support your employees or how Gordian can help with your staffing needs, reach out to us at clientcare@gordianstaffing.com.